One of the sickest pains that we know in our lives is how people change. Men smile at you one day, and 2 weeks later they'll turn their face away. A friend to whom you used to write once a week, you haven't written in 5 years now, because there's a change taking place. They've changed, you've changed, circumstances have changed. Now the word immutable, of course, is a negative of mutable. And mutable is from the Latin meaning subject to change. Mutation is a word we often use. God never differs from himself. Now, if you get a hold of this, my friend, it may be to you an anchor in a storm. It may be to you a hiding place in danger. There is no possibility of changing in God, and God never differs from himself. The English poet said, "Oh Lord, my heart is sick, sick of this everlasting change, and life runs tediously quick through its unresting race and varied reign. Change finds no likeness to itself in thee, and wakes no echo of thy mute eternity." Not God. God remains eternally the same, absolutely the same. And I'd like to point out another thing, that these suffixes that we have, that we apply to ourselves, they're direction words, such as back and down and upward and all such words. You can't apply them to God. God can't go back because God's already there, being omnipresent. God can't go forward because God's already there, being omnipresent. God can't go to right or left because God is already everywhere, and the heaven of heavens cannot contain him. Let us remember that in teaching the doctrine of the incarnation, we do not teach that God became man in the sense that God left his deity and took humanity. Now, he did that in that Jesus Christ was both God and man. But his manhood and his godhood, while mysteriously fused, they never passed over into each other. The old Athanasian Creed makes that very clear. Our fathers, way back there in the days of Athanasius, makes it very clear. They say that Jesus Christ is man, or God became man, not by the degradation of his godhood into man, but by the lifting up of his manhood into God. And so while Christ is divine and is God, and was with the Father before the world was, when Jesus was born of the Virgin Mary, he took a tabernacle on himself, but his deity didn't become humanity. His deity was joined to his humanity in one person forever, but God, the eternal, uncreated, can never become created. And one little girl, Rosie, she memorized the verse, "Suffer the little children to come unto me." And she lived on the street, and her home and playpen was the sidewalk, and her language wasn't the best. And the next day, Sunday, they asked her to quote the passage she'd learned the Sunday before, whoever could. And one little brown hand went up and shook, and it was Rosie. And they said, "All right, Rosie, you quote it." It was, of course, "Suffer the little children to come unto me, and forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of heaven." And she got the essence of it, but she didn't have the King James Version, and she said, "Let the little kids come to me, and don't you tell them they can't, because they belongs by me." Now, the Lord loves little ones like that, and he still does. The book of Hebrews has this for its thesis, that the altar changed from the temporary altar to the eternal altar, that the priesthood changed from the temporary priesthood of Aaron to the eternal priesthood of Christ, which cannot change. He hath an unchanging priesthood. And the tabernacle changed from the temporary tabernacle in Jerusalem to the tabernacle eternal in the heavens. And the blood sacrifice changed from the blood that was shed every day or every week or every month and every year to the blood that was shed once for all and needs not to be repeated. The permanency, the immutability of God's redemptive scheme is set forth in the book of Hebrews. Things changed until they perfected themselves, and they changed no more. We have found in God a home. I look forward not so much to heaven as my home, but as God as my home, in his heaven. and the eternity of God. We poor victims of the passing moment. We have found the timeless one. And then that old wrinkled lady without teeth and with her poor old cheeks leathery. She never looked in the glass anymore. She was too discouraged. And now she'll look young as the Virgin Mary. Now she'll look like an angel in the presence of God. Come tell him all your griefs and fears. He's just the same Jesus as when he shed those loving tears. The very same Jesus. Calm midst the waves of trouble be. He's just the same Jesus as when he calmed the raging sea. The very same Jesus. And someday our raptured eyes shall see he's just the same Jesus. Oh, blessed day for you and me. The very same Jesus.